Hi everybody, I'm Sally Wilson and I have with me as my wonderful guest, mentor and TRTP practitioner, Linda Phillip. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Sally. It's wonderful to be here. Wonderful.
Thanks, Linda. Well, look, I was looking at your list of accreditations before, and even before you came to TRTP, the list was about this long, including mental health social worker, psychotherapist, tapping. I can't even remember the others. I've got the list, NLP, all sorts of things. Why did you train in TRTP?
Okay, so I have always been a seeker. I've been a therapist for 20 years, and I've always been a seeker for the most effective tools for personal transformation that are out there. Yep. And I guess for, because I wanted to be the most effective I could be for my clients. And also it was a personal development journey for myself as well. And in 2011, I ran a telesummit, a worldwide telesummit, where I interviewed teachers from around the world on their the modalities that they had developed. And so it's always been something that I've had a really big interest in. It was a friend of mine went through the training, I think 2016. Mm-hmm. And I went through the process with her. Mm-hmm. And something shifted in me that nothing else had been able to touch. And so it was really a big transformation in my life that TRTP brought. And it's funny because in session 3, I was doing the future work, and I saw myself getting off a plane somewhere warm. I knew it was somewhere warm. I could feel the heat on my skin and the humidity. And I'm thinking, oh, great, I'm going on a holiday. And voila, I was in October, I got off the plane in Brisbane to do the training.
Yeah, right. So it was really through that experience of going through the process with your friend, who at that point was like a real beginner practitioner.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now that how did TRTP, once you'd done the training, how did it change your practice?
Well, dramatically. So before, I was sort of doing short to medium to long-term work with some people. Yep. And it was largely sort of talk therapy and different sorts of therapy within that to help them move through emotions and anxiety. Yep. I had quite, I had success, but with many clients, but there were some that I just couldn't get to because it was, just too deep or too much trauma. And also I was conscious of running the risk of re-traumatizing people.
Yeah.
And so this just meant that I could work in a really empowered way with people and get them to their other side of their pain in such a short amount of time. I trained in 2017, so I've been doing it for 4 years now. Yeah. And it's pretty much all I do now. And it's just phenomenal work. I mean, you just, time after time, you see the most incredible transformations in people. And I guess the big thing for me is really understanding now on a deep level about trauma and how it plays out in our lives and the patterns that are created in our lives, and how to really shift that quickly and effectively. So
and it's that thing where, you know, some people only think of trauma as being, you know, war zones or dreadful attacks or, you know, that sort of thing. But can you just shed a little bit of light on that from your perspective, working with TRTP, what trauma really means?
Yeah, it's just any distress that's happened in a person's life where there's been a strong emotion, and or it's gone on for a long period of time, and it's got stuck in their subconscious. The memory hasn't been able to be processed fully and properly, and so it's playing out in the background as if it's happening now. And that could be merely standing up in front of a classroom and saying something, and the whole classroom bursting into laughter, and the humiliation, that public humiliation, is huge. And even from my perspective, what TRTP gave me is a very simple understanding of my experience. And it all made sense. I could just go, oh my gosh, I could see all these dots lining up. It's like, no wonder. No wonder I haven't been able to get to this, because of the nature of what holds that experience in, and the work that needs to be done in order to release that.
And that, you know, so many people have the understanding that work that is transformative, real transformation work, has to take a long time. Right? I mean, we all have clients coming saying transformation can't happen that quickly. What would be your comment on that?
It's not true.
Simple as that, right?
It can happen in an instant. Can happen in an instant. But the key is, for anyone, is readiness, and their willingness to do whatever it takes to get there. So you know, that's really a pivotal part of anyone's transformation, is readiness and willingness to go there.
100%. And Linda, you mentioned the shift that happened for you when you did the work with your friend. Can you go into a bit more detail in terms of what you've noticed in yourself, the changes you've noticed in yourself through doing this work personally?
The first thing I'd like to say is that I grew up. So I'm the baby of 6 in my family. And I've had 4 children myself, but I still felt that I was a little girl stuck back there, in what, you know, some sort of learned helplessness, I guess. And I had an issue around lack and fear of going out there and you know, creating my life. So a lot of that has shifted. I have a sense of, and just in my work, like just being able to take someone and hold them in this very sacred space and step to the other side of their pain. It's like, I've got you. You know, I've got you, and it's okay. You know, it's going to be done quickly, effectively, and you're safe. You know, and that is so different to a therapeutic relationship where it's long term. I mean, sure, you hold them in that space, but it's the stepping up and really making them feel safe, like you've got them and you know what you're doing. And I had that before, but now it's just really, it's just a really empowered space. And I guess I could say that I just feel really empowered now. In my life.
There's a different sense of certainty about it, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so just one more question, Linda. What's been the biggest surprise through working with TRTP, either personally or professionally? Has there been something that was just like, oh, whoa?
I Let me think about that. I suppose, raising 4 children and being a busy working mum and sort of having this anticipatory anxiety about the future and how we're going to, get through, and how am I going to be able to afford this and that, and, everything else. And that ruled my life. It was a very big thing for me, very anxiety provoking.
Yeah.
And when we went into the first lockdown last year, I rang Judith and I said, hey, I just want to say that ordinarily, because I was doing some other work then, and because of lockdown, I lost all that work.
Yeah.
And ordinarily that would be a big trigger for me.
Mm.
And I said to Jude, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I've got no anxiety around this.
Yeah.
And I was able to go out and I created an online course, and then my work, just in the last 2 years, my work has really taken off and transformed in a new way. Yeah. And things have just landed in my lap. Yeah. Like, I've just been so fortunate and grateful for this last 2 years and how that's happened. So that's probably a big surprise, that I now know that I am the creator of my life and everything is going to be just fine.
Huge.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. For, it's such a wonderful thing to experience somebody else's openness about their own experience, and I'm very grateful to you for that. So,
that's a pleasure. And look, it was a total no-brainer for me to do the training because of the results that I had personally. Yeah. It's amazing work. It really is incredible and so thorough and so deep and so global. So even if you and can I just say one more surprise? Have I got 2 seconds?
One more thing. Yep.
One more thing. I never worked on my fear of heights. I had a shocking, crippling fear of heights. I didn't work on that in TRTP. One morning I woke up and my son said, we're going on a hot air balloon tomorrow, Mum. Because his friend was a hot air balloon, he's a hot air balloon pilot. I've organised for us to go in the morning. And I immediately went, no, we're not. And then I went, hang on a minute. I reckon it's okay. Yeah. I'm going to say yes. Yeah. Anyway, we jumped in that hot air balloon and we went up from the ground and we looked across the Yarra Valley, and I was looking over the basket, not 1 ounce of anxiety the whole time. And I hadn't even worked on my fear of heights, but it's just an effect that this work has. So it'll get, once you deal with those major events and they topple down, so much else changes.
Yep, all the symptoms disappear, don't
they? Sweep away.
Yeah.
Sweep away.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Linda, for all of that very generous sharing. And
pleasure. And
thank you, watchers and listeners, for joining us in this conversation as well. Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much, Sally. Really wonderful. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.